Welcome to On The Verge with Cara Bradley, weekly blasts of no-hype advice and essential practices to settle down, show up, and shift from crazy busy to high-definition, high-voltage living. Something I find myself saying over and over again when I'm teaching yoga is that you get to make this up. You get to make it up. Not only in a yoga pose, but in life. I feel like as I continue to press forward on my own journey, in my own teaching, these words keep coming up for me in my life and in my teaching. Make it up. We are unique individuals in these extraordinary human experiences. Nobody's got the answer for us. And so for us to be empowered, to be enlightened in this lifetime is to be nimble, is to be flexible, is to be curious about what's working right now. I talk about this over and over again in a lot of my episodes because I continue to explore it in my own life. And what I bring to you week after week is really very, very fresh. It's stuff I'm working on in my life right now. So it's why you hear the passion in my voice, because it's not just rote information that I'm regurgitating from years past. No, it is like right now. In fact, just in the last week, I'm finding the confidence, more and more confidence to make stuff up. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I know I spoke about this epiphany that I just couldn't go on week after week just sending these emails out, with information about the stuff I was doing. It just wasn't feeling authentic anymore to me. So I stopped. And I decided right on the spot, literally right on the spot, as I was writing the email out, to create an inner circle, to create a small community of people that wanted to engage, that wanted to just go right into it and talk about it and share. And I did it. I made it up. I just made it up, this circle. We have about 50 people that are engaging in something that is completely unformed. And we're going to make it up together, and we're just going to lean in and ride it. And so, I haven't always been super confident, even though sometimes it may seem like I am. We think other people are so confident and we're not. And that's not the case with me. I've struggled with self-doubt and my message and really pulling up my authentic message and what's coming through me and how I want to share with the world. And making stuff up on the fly gives me confidence. It helps me to connect with that authentic fire that comes through me all the time. And so I share this to offer you that opportunity as well. Make it up. And so where do you start? Where do we start making this stuff up? Well, you can start just in your daily life. There are no rules. There are no rules. Even our religions are made up. Somebody made this stuff up, right? Everything out there, every structure, the government, religion, our workplace, the way we're supposed to keep a freaking home, it's all made up. And so when we can jump outside of the box and we can jump our habitual patterns and we can sit in the rawness and the experience of what's happening right now, we start to see clearly, wow, this doesn't work for me. This is just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd prefer to lean in over here because that's a hell yeah for me. When we just sit in the rawness of the present moment, on the verge, in this moment, we start to see, the structures, these false structures that we've been living in. This is what it means to wake up from life, to wake up from the drudgery, the busy mind, the patterns, the habits, and to start to just really see clearly, whoa, this is my life. And I've been following other people's rules, and I don't want to do that anymore. I was doing these emails week after week. Some of them felt authentic. Some of them felt forced. Like, all right, I got to send out my Thursday email again. And I'm just using this as a small example. But, I was like, no, it doesn't feel good to me anymore. So I'm going to shift. I'm going to shift patterns. I'm going to shake it up and just see what comes up for me. We can do this. We play with doing this in our practice. So just to use the yoga practice as an example, but it doesn't matter if you don't practice yoga, and don't feel bad if you don't practice yoga. You don't have to, right? You have your own stuff, whether it be your own way of working out, your own classes that you attend, your own daily rituals that keep you grounded and centered. You get to make it up. You can stand on the shoulders of teachers and the teachers that speak to you, but then make it your own. So for instance, yoga practice, you're in poses, you're moving in and out of poses. These forms, they're just movement patterns. Yoga poses aren't magic. They're movement patterns to help us see clearly in a specific pattern how we're living. Whether we're shaming ourselves, whether we're speaking negatively, we're comparing ourselves constantly, or we're doubting our capacity. We get to see very clearly in a yoga pose how we're living our lives out there. The yoga pose just brings up a specific pattern of energy that helps us to see how we may be moving and speaking out there in the world. And so we get to make it up. If a yoga pose is causing us incredible suffering, play with it. Get nimble. Be flexible within the form to say, if this doesn't work, maybe if I just do this, or maybe if I let go of the need to do the big variation and I just sit in the simple form, what happens then? And this is what it means to be curious, to get into the subtle details of the way we're living so that we can optimize our lives and not just live in these ruts and these roads that have been set before us, but to grab our lives by the reins and to start steering it ourselves. Yeah, it sounds a little rebellious. Why not? Why not be rebellious? This is your life. This is your opportunity to experience this energetic form, this expression of awareness. Why not grab it and be a little rebellious and press into the boundaries of these structures that have been made up before us? We get to make it up. That's what being empowered means. That you get it. I get to make this up. I get to make up my yoga practice. I tell my students all the time, I'm here to offer you some guidelines, a bunch of patterns of movement, but get in there and change it up yourself within your practice. We get to do that in our meditation practice. We get to do it in the recipes that we cook, right? You open up the recipe book and you're like, I don't want to add that much cumin. I don't really like cumin. I'm going to add more of this. Or not even going to do that. I'm going to bake it instead of fry it, right? We get to make it up. It gives us confidence. You start with the small stuff. You start with those small little changes that you can start shifting in. So, look at your relationships. Look at your marriage, your partnership. You get to make that up, right? Hallmark tries to tell us what romance should look like, right? Or Madison Avenue tells us how we're supposed to act on Valentine's Day. Bullshit, right? You get to make it up. So this is what it means to wake up. To wake up and look at life as it is in the raw experience right here, right now with what you have. What's working, what's not. Go back to that episode. What's working, what's not in your life. What are your hell yes? What are your kind of cools? What's just meh? What needs to shift a little bit? This is it, guys. This is what we have. We have this day. Don't blow it by walking down someone else's road. Walk down your own road. Use others, experts, people that have walked before you and done the work before you. Use that to stand on as a foundation, but then go leap from there. Create your own structures, your own patterns, your own habits, your own rituals, your own ways of being spiritual. This weekend, I am participating in my goddaughter's wedding. I get choked up just thinking about it. Oh my gosh, she's getting married. And she asked me to walk the gifts down the aisle during the Catholic Mass. And I said, of course I will. Of course, I'd be honored. But I said to her, remember, I'm not a practicing Catholic. But that doesn't mean I don't hold these rituals with the highest respect. And I so honor the practice of Catholicism, but I don't practice it religiously anymore. But as I said to her, I am plugged in, girl. I'm plugged in to this sense of the enormity of life and the spirituality and the intelligence, the God intelligence that we are all coming from. So trust me that I will respect this with honor. But just remember that, this is where I'm at. And so to be honest with this, I am jumping patterns. I am making it up. I am living in my own spiritual world the way that I feel it calls to me right now in this moment. So we name it. We name it. We honor it. We honor where other people are. We give each other our own free will, but we make it up. There it is. There it is, folks. Go live this day as you need it to be lived, as you want it to be lived. Start small. Check stuff out on a small scale and start jumping those patterns. Go back to that episode 2. Jumping patterns. Play with it. Have fun with it. This is your life. Have an awesome day. If you're feeling fired up from this episode, please share it with a friend. And review this podcast on iTunes and Google Play. And help me help more folks show up for their high definition, high voltage life.